It feels like every week now there's another hack going on, and this is not any better than the last one. It's actually probably a little worse. In this case, 116,500 rsETH from the Kelp DAO protocol was minted out of thin air, which, at today's prices is roughly around 290 million to 300 million dollars, just created like that. Now, there are tons of repercussions from what happened today. I'm going to try to fit everything into a video that's easy to understand and kind of TLDR a lot of what's going on, but it really is a lot of moving parts. So real quick, how did it happen? Number one, actually, I should say, is that a lot of this stuff is like still happening in motion. I literally saw this happen a couple of hours ago, 2 hours ago. So I'm kind of just reporting what I've seen on crypto Twitter and what a lot of people are saying from these different protocols that are affected. So please just, by the time you see this video, it's possible that there may be more up-to-date information. But the current understanding is that at the core root of what happened today is Layer Zero's kind of OFT messaging kind of standard network that they have. Now, for the most part, the way OFTs work are essentially just tokens that can live on multiple different chains, chains that Layer Zero has integrated. So Ethereum, think Arbitrum, think Base, whatever, right? This hacker apparently was able to get access to the DVN, which is, I guess, a decentralized verifier network is what it's called. That its job, within the Layer Zero network is to verify the authenticity and integrity of messages that go across different chains, right? So in a nutshell, it's responsible for transferring messaging and OFTs across different chains. And, the hacker was able to get access to that, the DVN in particular. I think it was the one on Unichain/Ethereum. For whatever reason, again, this could all change. And also, I think there's a lot of information out there that may or may not match up with this. Kelp DAO, I think, has one signer on the DVN. So think of it as like a private key in a way, right? If you have one signer, then to use that wallet, you need to just sign one transaction, and the transaction will go through, right? If you have 2 or 3 signers, then 2 people need to sign a transaction, or 3 people need to sign a transaction before that goes through, right? Usually, the more the better for the most part in terms of security. So Kelp only had one for their rsETH OFT. That one that the hacker was able to mint $300 million worth, right? So already, that's not good. The hacker was apparently able to get a hold of that, and they were able to essentially, if you're kind of imagining the source message coming from Unichain and the destination message going to Ethereum, Unichain had 49 rsETH in total at the time this happened. And the hacker was able to make it look like 116,500 rsETH bridged from Unichain to Ethereum. So essentially, it was able to trick the network into making it look like, hey, there was 116,500 rsETH on Unichain when there was really only 49. Let me bridge it over to Ethereum. And he was able to do so. And that's kind of the crux of what happened at its core is, from the current understanding of what I'm, what I'm gathering from crypto Twitter. But there's a lot of widespread things that are happening because of it, right? rsETH was integrated in a lot of different DeFi protocols, albeit I think maybe before in the past it was in a lot more and definitely in a lot more size. But even then, there was apparently a pretty sizely amount locked up in Aave, in particular a lot on the Ethereum instance. I think some even maybe on the Arbitrum instance, that was used as collateral for people to withdraw wrapped ETH, which may essentially end up with Aave having some bad debt. Now, there's a lot of speculation about people saying, okay, well, who's going to take the haircut? Like, essentially, because there's all this extra rsETH on Ethereum that there shouldn't be, does that mean that rsETH is worthless? Does that mean that that's kind of amortized across all the rsETH that exists on Ethereum now and all these different chains? Meaning that everyone that holds rsETH and any DeFi protocol that holds rsETH will obviously be affected because, technically speaking, the price of rsETH, if you amortize it across all of it, with the new amount minted, would be like 83% of the actual market price. There's like so much. I think part of the problem, and this is similar. I'm going to say similar in terms of it's almost like a contagion in a way that's in a lot of these different protocols. I think mainly Aave. A lot of the other different DeFi projects were able to kind of pause certain contracts to make sure that any kind of effect that rsETH could have on them doesn't, hopefully. And there was even a lot of teams that paused their OFT contracts that have nothing to do with Kelp DAO or rsETH, They were just worried that maybe layer 0 itself has a bug, right? Again, apparently it's just the DVN itself from layer 0 was compromised. That's just the running theory right now. That could change. But there's a lot of conversation going on, and it's terrible, honestly. When I first saw it earlier today, I just saw someone saying on Twitter, "Hey guys, withdraw wrapped ETH from Aave ASAP." Now, mind you, Aave and Uniswap to me are like DeFi pillars, right? So, as in like, if there's anything you can trust blindly with your money, like in my mind, right, it's Aave and Uniswap. That's it. I wouldn't trust anything else personally, right? In terms of DeFi, I really would not, just because they've been in the market for so long and they've been so trusted and whatnot. So when I saw that, I was like, holy crap. And I have money in Aave. I don't have wrapped ETH, thank God, but I have money in Aave, right? So when I saw that, I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? Again, this wasn't an Aave exploit. It just so happens that Aave could have some bad debt because it integrated rsETH, unfortunately. There were some questions as well around other lending protocols and other people saying, why would Aave even have this asset listed on their marketplace and allow other currencies be affected by this one if in all reality maybe rsETH just like wasn't secure enough to begin with, like of an asset, right? Because most other protocols, most other OFTs or chains, etc., they have more than one signer, more than one DVN on there. So if one is hacked or whatever, the entire thing isn't screwed. The entire chain of the asset itself isn't screwed because you have another signer there that obviously needs to sign to also, push through whatever hack you want to push through, which obviously they wouldn't do that. Tons of things going on. I just wanted to kind of like regurgitate at the camera kind of what I've been able to see so far. Like I said, it seems to be something very core to layer 0 OFT. There could be some ripple effects in any DeFi integrations that was related to it. There were a lot. I have some I'm looking at the computer right now, like Sparkland, Fluid, Athena, Compound, Urine, layer 0 obviously, Euler, Pendle, like Beefy. Again, I'm not saying all of them are like compromised, but maybe if you have funds in any of those protocols, keep an eye on them. Look at the comms. Most teams at this point have put out comms related to this. If you're holding rsETH or if you have wrapped ETH on Aave, just check it right now. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what's going on in terms of wrapped ETH holders within the Aave protocol. I think it was Stani or might have been, I think it might have been Stani who had already commented saying they've already paused anything rsETH related to it. So whatever damage, if there has been any done, is, that's it. But my understanding is they're going to see essentially how that impacts the rest of the holders, considering Aave does obviously have ways to kind of solve bad debt in its system. They didn't say that it's there yet, but they didn't say that they have bad debt, but they said they might. So I digress. I'll let you guys know if there's an update if this interests anybody, but stay safe. DeFi is still obviously a little scary, especially if you don't know what you're getting into, much like a lot of finance, unfortunately. But yeah, I still have my funds on Aave, so wish me luck. Peace, guys.